Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2, and today I'm going to be giving you part 5 of What If Naruto Was a Uchiha who created his own village. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual. Share this to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the other 4 channels if you're new. Yes guys, I indeed have 4 more channels. Anime King, Anime King 3, Anime Prince, and Anime Symbol. So go ahead and obliterate that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. Don't forget to comment and tell me if you're new so I can welcome you personally. So without further ado or wasting any more time, let's jump right into this. Begin the intro. So the last time we left off, news spread like wildfire around the elemental nation about the Ninetales and who was governing said beasts. It was a frightening thought to most to believe that the combination of the Uzumaki and Uchiha had the Ninetales under their control. However, things became worse when the 3 islands that was once the home of the Uzumaki started to tremble. Before they split apart, it turns out that their home was technically underwater and at the same time not. Fuinjutsu was such a magical art as it rose up, conquering back the land and fused the 3 islands together into a gigantic village that was at least 2 times the size of Konoha. It was a baffling scene to witness. Those who were able to find this news they quickly proceeded towards the area. They did not hesitate to arrive. However, they did not make a move, of course. This was just to scout and see if anything or anyone was going to make a move. Once the process was done, a barefooted Naruto came out walking in the sand, the sun washing over his face, a happy smile on his face as he gazed down. He gazed around as he started to speak to his people. His words got the applause and got the cheers. They were finally back, and this time, they did not intend on falling, and they made that very clear. At Konoha, Danzo got the votes as people realized that Hiruzen was stalling. Because Naruto had unveiled the Ninetales, there was no question about it now. He removed the Ninetales from Mito. Hiruzen couldn't believe that he did something like that. Everyone knew who were understanding, the brief understanding that they had about the tail beasts. Once he removed the beast from the wielder, their body will die soon after. That means Hiruzen was pissed off, he was angry, as he couldn't believe it. However, he needed to make a move before it was too late. That is why Jiraiya proceeded towards the location. Arriving there on a boat a few days later, Jiraiya could not get behind the walls. There was a little outpost that the leader wished to speak to him in. Jiraiya contacted the 2 guards who did not seem to be Uzumaki or Uchihas, so that meant other people were living here as well. It was not just the 2 clans. They had a whole rebranding and renaming, so he wasn't surprised. Jiraiya proceeded to wait. It took around 5 minutes as Naruto arrived to sit down and talk with the man. He knew him, but he never really spoken to him before. Naruto was casual and calm, as Jiraiya cut to business, as he wanted to know where was Mito and if she was alright. Naruto told him that she was fine, and the reason why he was late, he was actually talking to her. She did not wish to see him. He didn't show up for her life. He didn't show his face for her life. And unlike them, Naruto never lied to her. He told her everything. She trusted Naruto more than any one of them. So yes, her desire to return back to the Hidden Leaf was zero. Jiraiya didn't believe that though, believing that Naruto had manipulated and was using her. But Naruto told him that it doesn't matter what he believed, she will not be returning. Jiraiya tried to grab Naruto's hand, and in a split second, two blades were at his throat. Two guards appeared out of nowhere. The Sannin did not show fear though, as he believed that he could take them. But despite his vast reputation and despite who he was, Naruto did not seem to care who he was. He was calm and relaxed, despite facing off against a Sannin, and the bloodlusted look in Jiraiya's eyes to show that he was not playing around. But Naruto told him that it was time to leave. Jiraiya had no choice. He made a promise to Hiruzen as well. So he left and returned back to the village. Another meeting was had. It seems that they didn't want peace, because if they wanted peace, they would have returned the girl. As Naruto had asked him the question though, do they care for her or do they care for the Nine Tails? Jiraiya had said that they care for her, but Naruto did not see it that way. Naruto also gave him a cryptic message, and Hiruzen knew what it meant. Danzo also knew what it meant because the message was for him. Some time passed. The Raikage, before he was going to ever meet the new leader, he wanted leverage, so he had his people watch. The Land of Wave, that village was closely connected to the new village at Rose, and their leader probably knew the way in. So he was going to send out a group to kidnap that leader and to get the information. He was going to send a great force just in case things went bad. But he had no doubt that this force would be able to take care of themselves. Unknown to him though, Naruto got that piece of information. He had people everywhere. As he said, he had people screened and let into his village. Special people who were abandoned by their village, who were kicked out by their own village. So yes, they were all in here. As Naruto proceeded to take a little trip, yes, he was going. Itachi showed up at the Land of Wave. Kazuna, who had taken the leadership, he was happy to see him, but he didn't have a scheduled meeting. Perhaps he was just visiting and just saying hi. However, it turns out that some people were coming here. Itachi told him that it was alright. Naruto was here. That raised an eyebrow for Kazuna. The leader himself was here. This must be a bigger problem than he thought. Ujito, the two-tailed Jinchuriki, 10 of the Raikage Anvus, and C, a sensory ninja, they all arrived towards the exit. However, the moment they arrived, they were found out. When Naruto showed up, C started to tremble because he was the best sensor out of all of them. Naruto gave them one warning to leave, except for the girl though. She would be coming with him. The others engaged as Naruto showed them why his reputation was so big. He disabled all of them in minutes. A minute to be quite exact. Ujito tried to transform when C told her to. They needed that power because this guy was vastly stronger than all of them. They needed that boost. However, for the first time, Naruto activated his Mangekyo and did something. The next thing they knew, she was blasted out of her tail beast form, as Naruto slammed her head right into the barrier, knocking her out cold. He turned towards C as he told him to go back to his Raikage, as he would still be looking forward to that meeting. C had no choice but to leave. Once he was gone, someone else showed up as the ear started to twist and turn. The masked man emerged, as he stepped out, gazing towards Naruto. So yeah guys, basically as we left off, you guys can switch across the play check for yourself. So as we begin this new episode, the bridge was silent. Naruto's back was turned as he lay, the unconscious girl on the ground. The moment he took her out of her tail beast form, she gazed into his eyes, so she would not be waking up for a very long time. Naruto slowly got to his feet as he turned to face the individual. Standing there was the masked man. Let me guess, one of the reasons why you're here is because you're after the tail beasts. The masked man was shocked. However, he did not give it away. His body was rather calm. He was unresponsive. Even if he did not give it away first, he then spoke. Now how would you know something like that? You know, said Naruto, you've caused a lot of problems. You've hurt a lot of people. And because of your intervention, someone I cared about deeply is now gone. Is that so? The masked man said, brushing it off. Well, he said, skipping right over it. If you know this much, you know that those tail beasts, they belong to me. Oh, do they now? Tell me something. How did you bring yourself to kill your teacher after everything he's done for you? That sent the man railing. He was confused. What did you just say to me? I said, how did you had what it takes to kill Minato Namikaze after everything that he's done for you? Would you mind explaining to me, Obito Uchiha? The masked man visibly shook as those words left Naruto's lips. He was angry. Naruto's gaze was calm. Don't even bother trying to pretend. I know who you are. 2 seconds, which seemed like minutes to these guys, as this square off was rather intense. How do you know that? He said. As I said earlier, you've been involved in several different monuments around the elemental nation, compelling Yagra to do your bidding. Used him like a pawn, taking the 9 tails away from Kushina Uzumaki, which resulted in the death of her and her husband Minato Namikaze. The now identified Obito was rather shocked. However, he had to stay focused. It doesn't matter what you know. Names, identities, they mean nothing to me. I'm here to give you a warning. If you do know what I'm after, I'm here to tell you that I will be requiring the 9 and 3 tails, which I know that is now in your possession. And how exactly are you going to get those? Naruto asks. Do you really want to do this? Obito said. You just took over as a leader of a rising powerful nation. I would hate to see your people fall down in peril, like what happened to the Uzumaki clan. A small smile came on Naruto's face, which was not fitting for this discussion. However, this was not a smile of humor despite the empty chuckle that followed. So that's it. Threatening my people. Well, you made a mistake by coming here. You think I didn't know that your pawn was watching the battle when I took on Yagra? You think I didn't know that it would draw you out of the shadows for me to end you? Obito quickly went on guard, realizing the danger. He's came across this man in the past before, and even then he was vastly powerful. However, now, things have changed. Well, things like Naruto's strength, which has grown significantly. Time did not seem to move. A fraction of 1 second, his speed took Obito by surprise. However, he did not even need to move after all. He wouldn't be harmed. He wouldn't be touched. However, Naruto's feet was raised as he hovered over Obito. When he drove his feet forward, Obito was shocked. The mass exploded. His head snapped to the side and he was launched. Obito crashed as he bounced off the bridge. In agonizing pain, Obito crashed on the ground as he lay there when he realized he couldn't move. Naruto was now there standing on his feet and his eyes were not showing the normal Sharingan. They were different, completely different. There was a circle in the center with 10 triangles linking at their base, surrounding the circle and pointing towards the edge of his eyes. The triangles used to be 5, but after he implanted his father's eyes into his, he awakened the eternal Mangekyou Sharingan, the most powerful set of Sharingan. Naruto was not in the mood to even talk. He descended upon Obito like death itself. However, Naruto saw the ground around Obito shift. Zetsu emerged, using the white half. Multiple green vines shot towards Naruto and wrapped him around. They were sent sailing as Naruto ripped them off. He came down and split that section of the bridge in half. However, Zetsu had pulled Obito underground, using his technique as he bonded with his body in order to get him to escape. Damn it, said Naruto, as the broken bridge started to go down. Just to show the amount of force that Naruto had used, he split the giant bridge with just a punch. He was intending to blow Obito's head clean to pieces. Time skip. Obito was placed down on the bed by the spawns of White Zetsu. I can't move, he said. White Zetsu spoke in a humorous manner, despite the serious situation. Just one kick and you're almost dead. Be quiet and do your thing, Black Zetsu said. Fine, fine, White Zetsu said as he surrounded Obito, wrapping around him. He started to assess the damage. As he covered him whole, Obito was not even visible anymore. However, the mouth area opened up as White Zetsu spoke. Man, he was really trying to kill you. Your spinal cord and nerves, they're damaged. This is going to take some time to heal, even with the cells attached to your body. As the White Zetsu unfurled and reattached with Black Zetsu, how was he able to bypass your Kamui? Black Zetsu spoke. His eyes, right before he struck, his eyes were not normal. They took on the shape of the Mangekyou. He seemed to possess an extraordinary ability that he used to bypass my Kamui. I'm not sure what it is, but there should be no other Sharingan ability that should be greater than my Kamui. And yet, he got past it so easily. Well, you should have taken your own advice, White Zetsu said, and just stay away from him a bit longer. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been in this situation now. Shut up, Obito said in anger. Leave, and allow me time to rest. Will do, boss, White Zetsu said, just to piss him off, as Black Zetsu remained quiet. Obito lay there, as he couldn't believe it. This was the first time that he was so justly humiliated. One attack, and his head was almost knocked clean off. It was the mass. The strength of the mass. If it wasn't for said mass, he believed that his head would have been snapped around. However, it took a great amount of force to break the mass and then to snap his neck to the side. The mass had cancelled out a lot of the force, and now his goddamn spinal cord was fractured. He took a deep breath as he calmed himself. This was not going anywhere that he expected it would go. Time skip. Two envoys were rushing C to the hospital. An exhausted, battered, dirty C arrived. They found him while they were on their scout, and the envoys were now rushing him back. The sensor was completely out cold. Given his state, it seemed like he had ran all the way back here. His body was dehydrated, exhausted. It was in a bad state. Word was quickly sent to the Raikage. Most of them did not know about the mission that was put on by their leader. Mabi came to the office as she informed him. The Raikage looked towards her with caution in his eyes. "Did you just say that he returned by himself?" "Yes, sir," she said, looking rather worried. The Raikage quickly burst right through the window, heading towards the hospital. When the Raikage arrived, he was notified that C would be out for a couple of hours until his body recovered. The Raikage sent out more envoys to search the surrounding area to see if they could recover anyone else. However, they came back empty-handed. When C finally woke up, the Raikage was immediately notified. The Raikage came in the room as he saw C. His eyes were open as he was lying down on the bed. Sir, he said, as he propped himself up. The Raikage went straight into it. "What happened? Where are the others?" he said. C took a breath as he seemed to swallow heavy. "They're all dead, except for Ujito," he said. "What?" "He knew. Somehow he knew that we were coming. The moment we got close, he knew, and he was waiting on us. I sensed him first. It was like staring at a monster. His very power was so raw, so intense. He took on the 10 envoy members that was sent as backup by himself. He picked them apart in just a few seconds. His strength is unreal. I realized that too late. I told her to transform, because there was no way we could have beaten him as we were. He did something to her. One moment she was transforming, the next moment he knocked her out of it." "What? What do you mean knocked her out of it?" "I truly do not know. She was unconscious." "How did you escape?" the Raikage said. "He let me go. He said that he still wishes to speak with you. Until then, he would be holding on to her." The Raikage clenched his fist violently upon hearing that. Meanwhile, she was finally coming to. She was finally reawakening. She felt so tired, felt so exhausted. It was like she has been fighting for a few days now. She slowly opened her eyes. She realized that she was on a bed. She looked around. She was in a room. The walls were painted blue. There was no window. There were 2 doors. The room was a decent size for living. There was nothing else, nothing more inside. She was confused as she tried to remember what happened. The moment she did, she leaped off the bed. She quickly and silently made her way towards the door. However, as she reached out to open it, she physically could not. She could not touch the handle. Her hand would not grip it. She was confused as she backed away. She stepped towards the other door and opened it to reveal that it was a bathroom. No windows, yet there was fresh air. She closed the door as she moved towards it, and her hand just could not grip the handle. What the hell? The door opened as she jumped away. She landed on the bed. He walked inside. He was so casual about it. Despite her being his enemy, she realized that he did not see her as a threat. His guard was completely dropped. Or maybe that was just a facade. He was holding a small chair in his arm. He placed it down. As he sat down right in front of her, she gazed at him. This was her chance to strike. He wouldn't be expecting this. She dashed forward at her fastest. However, when she tried to hit him, she was thrown back. As she dropped on the bed, he then spoke. "That won't work," he said. "You can't leave or attack anyone in this area." As he pointed, she looked down as she lifted her shirt to see a strange seal on her stomach. "What the hell is this?" she said. "Just something to keep you bound to that location," Naruto said rather casually. "Now, can we talk?" "You want to talk? What kind of idiot do you take me for?" "Well, I don't take you for an idiot. I just want to talk. You're high up in the food chain. You're a Jinchuriki, so maybe he will heed your warning. Don't worry, you're not going to die. I'm going to deliver you back to Kumo as a peace offering." She narrowed her gaze towards him. "Do you take me for a mindless fool? Do you really think I would believe what you say after what we tried to do? I killed 10 of your people. I suppose your intentions of attacking my village, that should be enough to quench my revenge, if you would call it that. You say it so casually, like you didn't just kill 10 people." "Please," said Naruto. "And what was your motive for going there?" She shut her mouth as she gazed at him, realizing that she was on the defensive here, and her defense did not mean crap at the moment. "So, as I was saying, there's only one thing that I want to hear from you." "What is it that you desire?" said Naruto. She was confused. "What I desire? I desire to leave this place." "No, not like that," he said. "Overall, what is it that you desire in this life that we live?" "What are you? Some kind of psychologist?" she asked him. "No, far from it. I'm just intrigued." She was confused. What exactly was his deal? He wanted to know her desire. This guy was strange, yet she saw what he can do. The last thing she saw was his eyes. She heard about those, the evolved stage of the Sharingan. What was it called again? Oh yeah, the Mangekyou Sharingan. It was her first time ever seeing one. She had no idea what it did to her, but the next thing she knew, she was waking up here. Those eyes were just as powerful as she heard. Now he was asking what she desired. He didn't want to know about if she wanted to be free or get out of here. He wanted to know about her overall desire. Such a strange question to ask someone. She looked towards him. He was calm and waiting on her response. She realized if she was going to live through this, she was gonna have to play ball. At the moment she was defenseless. And if she were to anger him, perhaps things would be worse for her. So she can act it for a moment. She released a breath. "I'm not sure," she said to him. "I never thought about a long-term goal before. My life is complicated as it is, being a Jinchuriki." Naruto kept on looking at her. She blinked when she then noticed his eyes. She was surprised as she gazed down towards the ground. She was frightened. Was his Sharingan on the entire time? She was sure that it was off. He slowly got to his feet. "As I said earlier, there is nothing to fear. You are perfectly safe. We will keep you until your Raikage reach out. You will return home safely," he said. "Thank you for answering my question." With that, he left. Yujito was more confused. She tried for the next few minutes in order to get out. However, she just could not grip the handle. She could not remove the seal from her, and the seal was also affecting her chakra. She could not even access the power of the Nibi. Damn it, she thought. She sat down. There was nothing that she can do to escape this place. She glanced over where the books were. Might as well. She picked up one of them. Around an hour later, someone came in. He did not say a word or even look at her. He brought her food. He then left. She looked towards the food as she sniffed it. It smelled alright. Why would they bring her here just to kill her? And she was really hungry. She took a bite and it was completely fine. Meanwhile, Naruto seated in front of Hina and Kaido, the elders, as he looked at him. So they tossed the first stone, Kaido said. Yes, they had, said Naruto. But like I said, I will be bringing her back to Kumo. Both of the elders were quiet for a moment. We understand, Hina said. But you must understand, given the past, how our action might reflect on certain events. Yes, I do, said Naruto. But I made you two a promise. I made every single people a promise in this village. That this nation will not fall. The past will not repeat itself. I already knew that the Raikage was going to make a move. Even more so than Oniki. Oniki is stubborn but the Raikage is paranoid. He believed that he needed an upper hand, but now, I am the one with the upper hand. So when I go and talk to him, I will quell the disagreement that is currently taking place. And what if he disregards everything you say? And what if he chooses to throw the second stone, Kaido said? If that does happen, we will retaliate. And I will personally see to it that the Raikage draw his final breath. Maybe after his new successor is appointed, then we can have a peaceful existence. Both of the elders nodded as they refused to let the past return. They refuse to let what happened to so many of their people happen once again. They were now combined together with a much larger force, and their people were happy after years of torment all those time back then. But things were different now, and they put their trust and hope into this man. If anyone can do it, he can. Time skip. Naruto was in his office when the secretary told him that Mito was here to see him. Naruto told her to send her in. Mito came inside. He could tell immediately that something was wrong. Naruto got up as he moved towards the couch and motioned for her to sit. What's wrong? He said. I was just wondering, is everything okay? What do you mean? I mean, recently, Jiraiya, my godfather, right? He came. I mean, you told him I didn't want to see him. I don't want to go back there. But what if Konoha decide to retaliate because of me? What if they want to kill you because of me? Come on now, said Naruto. You know I'm way too strong to be killed, he said with a smile, actually lightening her mood. I'm serious, she said. I don't want anyone here to get hurt because of me. You're all my family now. I was never treated fairly back then. But here, everyone is nice. Everyone treat each other with respect. I always thought about this, but I just realized now how real it is. What if they retaliate because I'm here now? Naruto placed a hand right on top of her head. You just said it. Everyone here is family. They treat each other with respect. And if you think they would even muster the thought of ever abandoning you, you're crazy, he said with a smile. And besides, to more than anyone else, you're my sister. And I will never allow harm to come to you. I will do what I must. I will try for Konoha to understand, but they're never gonna harm you ever again. She smiled. That took a huge weight off her shoulder. Time skip. In the office, Urza and Itachi stood in front of Naruto's desk. And you only want me to accompany you, Urza said, looking towards Naruto. Yes, Itachi. The council will be handling most of the work while I'm gone. But I want you to make sure everything runs smooth here. Itachi nodded. She looked towards him. So you're okay with this? You want to walk in the belly of the beast with just the both of us? Well, you do have the ability to get us back here if anything goes wrong. And stop pretending, unlike me, that your mind is not one of the most deadliest, Naruto said looking at her. You've been keeping things civil and everything average, everything at a level where everyone understands, despite the rage and anger that fell upon your people. I need your mind in this, said Naruto. This situation is gonna be frustrating. The Raikage would perhaps push some of my buttons. He has a rather overbearing attitude. So I need you there to keep me calm. She looked towards him as she was quiet for a moment. Yes, she said. Excellent, said Naruto. We'll be leaving first thing tomorrow. With that, he dismissed them. Once they were outside of the office. You don't seem to be concerned at all. Itachi looked towards her. Because I'm not, as he started to walk. Why not? You and I, more than most people, know what he's truly capable of. You and I know the true power that is hidden under that calm facade. And stop counting yourself short. You're one of the stronger Uzumakis. Maybe the strongest, he said, looking at her. Well, I suppose you're right. Well, at least you're not modest, Itachi said, making her chuckle a bit. Something still confused me though. I didn't ask him though. What is that? Itachi said. He says the Raikage might push his buttons. However, I don't believe there's a single person on this planet that can get Naruto riled up if he doesn't want to get riled up. Yes, I also noticed that. Maybe he just wanted to spend some time with you, despite the dangerous situation. She snapped her gaze towards Itachi. Did you tell him? No, Itachi said. I promised I would keep your secret, and I won't say anything unless you ask me to. Alright, she said. Maybe he just need an escape plan in case things go crazy. You know, you can always talk to him, Itachi said. I know, she said. As the both of them made their way off, back in the office as Naruto was going through a few paperwork. As of this moment, his nation had the most allies in the entire elemental nation. Because of the violence of the five great nations, they could not ally with certain members. But right now his nation was allied with countless smaller villages. What they might lack in numbers, they made up for it in different attributes. Like the land of rice field, given their namesake, they produced the finest quality rice. There was also the land of March. They supplied the highest quality vegetable through the entire elemental nation, and because of their treaty, they paid much less more than the other nations that require to get their items. There was also the land of spring. His intervention by ending Koyuki's uncle, Dodo. After that, the science department at this village had boosted beyond normal what the land of spring lacked in Fuinjutsu. They lack in science department. So, they had members routinely switch from villages, coming here teaching classes and helping one another out. And because of his tight relationship with Koyuki, things were better than ever. They were now allied towards Kiri. They were already gifted enough to hand over their three tails. And more than that, in the future, he believed that their friendship and partnership would grow exponentially. And his deep friendship with Mei was going to play a good part in that as well. And there were countless others. The land of spring, the land of star, countless others that he had allied himself with over the years. And now that they were public, that was paying off. The village economy was booming. The secretary came inside and she handed Naruto the files. Some of them were blueprints for new buildings that were going to construct. She sat down with him. She was a beautiful, white-haired woman, not because of age. She was in her early 30s. Naruto had a close friendship with her. She was a very smart, intellectual woman who always helped him on a few of his more difficult jobs. Her name was Hiara. As the both of them were going over the shopping district, as she was giving him her input, Naruto was thinking about a few renovations that would be a big booming and driving point for the economy. After all, they were allowing tourists from other villages to enter into their village as a sign to their treaty and their peace pact that they had with these villages. Not to mention the sky station that they would be building soon. Yes, the Land of Spring had special hot air balloons in the past, and because of their technology, they had crafted what they call airplanes. They were not at this level yet to be shown to the world or even go up in the air. However, right now they had what seemed to be a very advanced hot air balloon fixed with an entire engine. Naruto had seen the blueprints that Koyuki had showed him what she had their science department building. Naruto had placed his input into that so that his village could also possess that as well. It would be incredible for traveling for those that was not capable as most ninjas, even ninjas as well. After all, it could take to the sky. So that would be truly incredible for them. And they were working on it as we speak. The Uzumakis over there were also helping in putting their Fuinjutsu as well. As Naruto couldn't wait to see the final product. When he visited Koyuki soon enough, he would be able to see what the development and how they have upgraded the system. He couldn't wait to see it. Even as we speak, the final stage of the graduation had taken place. Missions were being sent their way from the other outside villages. Because of his connection with the Land of March, the Land of Fang, the leader of the village, she wanted to speak with him about a partnership, and Naruto would like to speak to her as well. Adding another village to their unified, joining nation was going to be something big. Before Naruto knew it, it seems like they started a coalition. The minor nations might be weak by themselves. However, stacking them all together, they were a truly dangerous force to be reckoned with. And with his village and Kira also in the mix as well, they were going to be bigger than the 5 great nations, surpassing them. Yes, even if Kira was involved, but they were no longer involved. Now were they? Mito would be experiencing missions very soon. Sasuke and several other Uzumakis, several other Uchihas, and several other kids that were neither Uzumakis or Uchihas. Yes, they were just itching to finally be out there. One might ask if Naruto wasn't afraid of the repercussion or the fear of the other nations making a move. However, they would not. The Raikage would be stagnant after their meeting. Oniki and his people would not make a move. Oniki was stubborn, but he was not an idiot. Konoha, they will make a move soon, but they will try to reason with him first. He believed that soon enough, the leader, Hiruzen, would be coming here himself. They had no altercation or no problems with the sand, so they were not involved in the slightest. That is why Naruto was not worried. But as he said on multiple occasions, he would never allow this nation to fall. He would never allow his people to be hurt by anyone. He would never allow their life to just be uselessly taken away. Never. Time skip. You know, when you said that it was just going to be you and me, I thought that it was just going to be you and me. Urza said to Naruto, "Did you expect my guards not to be here?" said Naruto. "I just thought that you knew, so I never mentioned them." "Oh," she said to him. They had a horse with them, and there was a tied up Yujito on the horse. She was unconscious. This was a special bred horse. Given the way it trod and walked, you could tell. They had the idea of carrying both him and, well, Ursa in a caravan. But Naruto told them that they would be fine walking. He liked to stretch his legs as the guards surrounded them in a formation as they moved. He was not worried about the village security. There was no one that could enter the village. Not even the masked man with his ability. Absolutely no one. If they tried, they will be dead before they even got close. Time skip. Finally, he was able to move his body. He had the Mokitan cells. Cells that were supposed to heal him really quickly. Not to mention with the assistance from the Zetsu clone. And yet, it took him so long to even goddamn move. A little more to the right, if his mask was not there. A little more, and his life would have been ended. He would have probably been paralyzed. One kick almost took him down. Obito was still not sure how in the world did he get past his Kamui. That did not make no sense to him. He bypassed it with ease, like it was nothing. And Obito still did not understand just how he did that. But he do realize now that he was dealing with someone more dangerous than he thought in the beginning. Obito thought rather highly of himself. Despite the fact that Minato pulled a lot of move in that battle, who was the one that came out alive? However, Obito truly believed that if he faced this guy head on, he would lose. Not only was he afraid of Naruto before that, but now that he could pass by his Kamui, something that he was actually counting on would work, given the last time they met and he passed right through him. Maybe he analyzed him at that moment and found a way. They do say that his skills in the battle are just as great as his mind. Obito knew of his father rather well. He actually looked up to him when he was there, because Obito was older than Naruto, so yes, before he had a son. Obito looked up to him a lot for his strength, but he had heard that the man had a nasty temper. They called him the Red Dragon. Even now, most people did not dare say his name. He built quite the reputation for himself, just like Madara Uchiha. They say that after he lost the woman that he loved so much, he became even more nastier. Obito rarely hear that man's name pass around. Even Madara's name was a taboo subject for most. 3 generations, and the 3 of them proven to be a world changer, a dangerous threat for people to fear. And Obito really believed that he's just seen the tip of Naruto's power. And now that he saw the Mangekyo Sharingan, he didn't even know if Pain Path could stand a chance against him. As his mind was going over the Mangekyo, he was not sure if that was the Eternal or not. He's never seen the eyes before, if they were normal, but the body of his father was brought to him, and his father did have the Mangekyo. So there was a chance that was the Eternal. If that was the case, the power that he has at his disposal could even wipe away. It could even wipe away the Rinnegan. However, Obito had been thinking about it. His mother, she had Senju blood running through her veins. And he has been seen using wood style. So that meant there was a chance that he could awaken the Rinnegan, further boosting his power to unbelievable levels. Madara didn't awaken it until he was old. Obito surely did not know. However, he needed to find a plan. He needed to set a plan in place to stop him. He was even fearful of reviving Madara. Madara was his grandfather and he was Madara's grandson. Obito did not know if there was any contact made between them when Madara was alive, because when Madara was alive, Naruto was young. Yes, he was young. That meant there could be contact. So what if Madara chose to side with him, despite his propaganda, despite his goals, what he seemed to say that he was going to follow? Obito surely just did not know. But he had to create precautions and prepare for the worst. Time skip. At Konoha, the past few days has gone by in a crazy frenzy. Jiraiya returning with the news. It was a shocking development. Most believe what Naruto had to say about Mito still being alive, that he took the Nine Tails. After all, if you think about it, he has seal masters at his disposal that will make Jiraiya look like a novice. So of course they could find a way to keep her alive while they extracted the Nine Tails. That begs the question, what were they trying to bring back to the village? The reason they wanted both of them was because she was a Uzumaki as well. The Uzumakis were the only ones known to contain the Nine Tails. Even now as we speak, they were trying to create a seal in order to restrain the beast and seal it away. However, there were some questions, some propaganda that she should not be resealed with the Nine Tails. After all, she was loyal to them, and she wouldn't be with Konoha. A lot of problems had been brought up. Hiruzen had been through back-after-back meetings. Time and time again, it seems like these problems were just not going away anytime soon, and things were only getting worse. Slander and voices were already being said around the elemental nation. Yes, people believing that Konoha has gone soft and weak, making a mockery of their name. Hiruzen was a man that protested and hated war, but he couldn't allow Naruto to remain with the Nine Tails. He just couldn't. That will cause the village of Konoha to be placed in a situation of the other nation seeing them weak. And when people think that you're weak, they would retaliate to try and get what is yours. Hiruzen believed that he could sort this out though. He would go himself and have a talk with Naruto. He was going to send one of his people there so that he could arrange a meeting with Naruto so they can finally talk and sort out what was gonna happen for the foreseeable future. He knew Naruto, but he also knew what Naruto knew that most people did not know. That message that Naruto gave Jiraiya. Hiruzen knew that it was directed towards him for not busting Danzo, for what he did, for the people that he slaughtered. Hiruzen still did not believe grudges like that were released that easily. So for the future and the elemental nation surviving, they were gonna have to make sure that they did this right. Otherwise, things would be drastically bad. While Hiruzen was discussing that with himself, someone else was making a plan. That was Danzo Shamura. Danzo was on the ground as he was making a plan to make Konoha great again. Time after time, people were taking them for fools. It started with the Nine-Tail attack, people believing that their strength had wavered and weakened. And then with the Hyuga incident, believing that they've weakened even more. And now, their Jinchuriki was taken away, and they were unable to retrieve it. Their Jinchuriki was taken away. Their goddamn Jinchuriki was taken away. Konoha, the strongest nation. Hiruzen was a fool, a naive buffoon. The Chunin exams was coming up soon, and Danzo had made a deal with a very twisted, slippery man. This deal will ensure that Hiruzen dies. Yes, it's time that Hiruzen retire permanently. Danzo was conspiring for his death because the moment Hiruzen fall, Danzo would be Hokage. There was no doubt in his mind that he would. He has already manipulated the council, showed them that Hiruzen was weak, and even now Hiruzen wanted to talk, while the world was starting to see them as nothing but buffoons. And yet Hiruzen wanted to reason with this threat that was only rising the more you leave it be. So Danzo was going to slip in and take over. And once he does that, he will show this world the might of the Hidden Leaf Village. He will make them all bow. Every single one of them, Starting with that village and those Uzumakis. They will bow and pledge their loyalty to Konoha. And those Sharingans, they will be his. Every single one of them, they will be his. Time skip. Obito, going by the alias Madara Uchiha, which was a real problem. You see, those that know him by that alias was the current leader of the Akatsuki. Yes, the man never believed him in the first place, but now, Madara grandson was alive. That boy was a powerful threat, yet there was no contact made. However, the so-called alive Madara always had a excuse, always had a reason for that. He was just informed about the new situation as he sat in his mechanical walker. His piercing eyes, eyes that were said to be gifted from the gods, the Rinnegan, gazing out towards the situation in front of him. The 3 and 9 Tails was in their possession. This new village was a threat. There was a bigger problem. The Uzumakis. It made him think about his life. It made him think about something that his mother had once told him. When the war had went on and the attack had rained down on the Uzumakis, his parents had fled. Yes, they had fled. It was more than just a couple of them. A lot of her friends and even cousins had been killed. It was a shame that his parents never found out that their people were still alive. But now, their people had merged with the Uchihas. And Nagato was afraid that he had no choice, because he must have the 9 tails. He must have the 3 tails. To make sure that his plans go as he was creating to see them go, he must receive these tail pieces. Even if that means going up against the Uzumaki clan, his own clan. There was no other way. There was none. Time skip. They arrive towards the land of lightning. Walking through the land of lightning, there was many people looking their way. Many people looking at them. It was rather awkward given the fact that they had a girl tied up on a horse who was unconscious. However, the noble robes and Naruto hat secure him as someone above them, a leader. No one made a move. They didn't want to start something that they could not finish, so they remained docile. Naruto and his people made their way until they saw a group. This group was from Kumo. It seems the Raikage prepared a welcome party for him. As Naruto group came to a stop, the leader was none other than C. He was fully recovered. After all, he wasn't badly injured or anything. His gaze looked towards the Ujito. The Raikage sent us here to welcome you and give you a proper walking into the village. That is very kind of him. Well then, shall we? C was confused by this man and his attitude. He was unlike most leaders despite the fact that they tried to get leverage over him, and now he was holding Yujito hostage. C did not bother asking about her or retrieving her because he knew that he wouldn't hand her over just yet. But the moment that he stepped into the village, he realized that he would be outgunned and outmanned, and yet he was the one that was coming to meet them on their own terms. Just what kind of power does he truly possess to be so fearless? Well, perhaps they will know if things go, well, not as they want them to go. After all, there was a chance things could go nasty really quick, and that would lead to bloodshed and chaos. B was with his brother. The Raikage was expecting the worst. If he did not like those terms that were being brought to him, this was going to end in only one way: death. But guys, we end episode right here. If you want to see the next part and do, Like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification as they posted. Remember, share to all of your friends on your social media platform. And don't forget to go ahead and check out the other channels. I hope you guys enjoy each and every one of them. So without further ado or wasting more time, let's get the hell out of here. See you guys soon. Peace.